Hey guys. Good morning. Unfortunately, I've had a whole bunch of tech issues this morning, which means I cannot do a full show for you. But I did want to bring you some updates on the One Big Beautiful Bill and, in particular, on the full-blown war that has erupted once again between Trump and Elon Musk. The very latest this morning is that Trump is now floating the idea of deporting Elon Musk. He was asked about this by a reporter and said, "I don't know. We'll have to take a look at deporting him. We might have to put Doge on Elon." You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Asked further about Elon, he added, he's upset that he is losing the EV mandates. He can lose a lot more than that. So, that's the very latest this morning. This, of course, comes after a complicated backstory. As you guys know, Elon was once Trump's biggest supporter. Then came what many saw as a tremendous disaster, with Elon becoming completely unpopular and politically toxic. He started aggressively criticizing Trump, particularly over this One Big Beautiful Bill. Among other things, a key point of contention was when Trump pulled the NASA administrator candidate that Elon wanted. In response, Elon went completely nuclear. You'll remember he accused Trump of being an Epstein pedophile, though he sort of walked that back later. He also said that Trump was going to destroy the economy and cause a recession, and even claimed that he himself was the only reason Trump won in the first place. Which was an interesting comment. After all that happened, Elon kind of walked things back a little bit and has been relatively quiet. Now, he's gone back in on the One Big Beautiful Bill and has been aggressively criticizing it again. He said this: if this insane spending bill passes, the America Party will be formed the next day. So now, Elon is once again actively threatening to create a third party. If he does it, do I think it's going to be particularly impactful? No. But you have to keep in mind, when you have this very evenly split 50-50th political system, if that party takes even, let's say, 5% of the vote, this becomes a big problem for Republicans. And Lord knows Elon has all the money on the planet to do whatever he wants with it. This is also interesting because Trump is threatening a primary challenge against Representative Thomas Massie and is looking for a candidate. By the way, the candidates they're looking at are reportedly complete and total psychos. Not that Thomas Massie and I are aligned, but I at least respect the fact that he has some principles and is willing to stand up for himself and his values, while Trump is funding a primary challenge against him. Elon has now come in and said he is going to back Thomas Massie in that fight. So, he is directly taking on Trump in this one race that is becoming a focal point. Trump has also hit back at Elon. He said, "Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It's ridiculous. It was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one." He continued, "Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history. By far. Well, that might actually be true. Between Tesla, SpaceX, and all of the massive government contracts including under the Obama administration, which helped rescue both companies and moved the space program toward private contractors like space steers, no doubt Elon has benefited immensely." Trump added, "Without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production. And our country would save a fortune." Perhaps we should have Doge take a good hard look at this. Big money to be saved. So, they are back at full-on war. Maybe Elon is going to tell us more about what he said before. About the Epstein files and Trump's alleged involvement. Not that anyone should have been surprised. Given Jeffrey Epstein himself said he and Donald Trump were besties for a full decade. And we have pictures and reports of Trump on the Lolita Express multiple times. So, while it shouldn't be shocking, Elon is really threatening to pull the pin. It's been interesting to see how meek Trump originally was in the face of Elon Musk's criticism. Even after Elon said all of that stuff, Trump counseled J.D. Vance to be diplomatic and not go aggressively against him. Trump really tried to cool things down. And ultimately, Elon did back off. Now, things have flared up again. I suspect this will continue to be the dynamic, a quiet period. And then an explosion. Because you're talking about two gigantic narcissists who think they're the only people that matter in the entire world. So that's the Elon piece of this. There are a few other pieces that are really important to note this morning. Just to update you on where things are, it's 8:53 a.m. On Tuesday morning, July 1st. When I'm recording this, they've been voting in the Senate all night in what they call a votorama on all of these amendments to the One Big Beautiful Bill. I saw that this is something like the longest votorama in history. The way this works, of course, is that this bill has to get through the Senate, which continues to be in doubt. No Democrat is going to vote for it. So Republicans can afford to lose only 3 votes. Right now, they've got 4 in danger. Rand Paul is a no over debt concerns. Tom Tillis is a no over a variety of concerns. And since he's not running for re-election, he is just going full nuclear on Trump and this bill. That means they can only lose 1 more. The 2 that are still out there are Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, the moderates in the Republican caucus. It looks like they're working particularly hard on Lisa Murkowski, since she represents Alaska. They tried to carve out provisions in the bill to basically buy her off, making it so the Medicaid and food stamp cuts wouldn't really apply in Alaska in the same way. However, the Senate parliamentarian, who rules on what can be included in a reconciliation bill, said they could do this for food stamps but not for Medicaid. So, she's not getting all the carve-outs she was originally promised. And I suppose her vote is still in doubt. This morning, I've seen reports from Jake Sherman and others about her huddling with John Thune and having meetings inside offices. People are gathering around her. She's got a pad and paper, so I don't know what's going on there. But keep in mind, even if they get the votes in the Senate, it still has to go back to the House. This is why it's called a reconciliation bill. The Senate version has to be reconciled with the House version, which is different. The House version passed by only 1 vote. 1 vote. So it squeaked by to start with. You have a similar balancing act going on in the House between moderates concerned about the Medicaid and food stamp cuts, and the hardline budget hawks concerned about how much this adds to the debt and deficit. My understanding is the Senate version adds a little more to the debt than the House version. In any case, I think ultimately they probably figure out some way to get this through. That is my guess. But you can understand why Republicans are not excited to vote on this. Because it is so profoundly unpopular. I mean, this legislation is truly insane. I've seen other people describe it as effectively committing national suicide. Not only do you have this massive upward transfer of wealth, possibly the largest in history, from cuts to social safety net programs, with that money being funneled directly to the top in the form of a gigantic tax cut. But you also have this attack on energy production at a time when it has perhaps never been more critical. Specifically, it's an attack on the new, clean forms of energy that seem to be the direction of the future. An area where China is investing massively and already kicking our ass. Particularly in solar. This bill would destroy our ability to innovate and build in terms of solar, wind, and the aforementioned EV credits. A lot of work has been done on EV battery development in the United States. Some of the successful work that happened under the Biden administration. And this would gut all of that. Then, you layer on top of this a massive expansion of the police and surveillance state. Specifically in the form of huge funding moving to ICE and expanding private prison contracts for detention centers. The raids we've been seeing at Home Depot and elsewhere would be absolutely supercharged by this. So you've got a tax cut for the rich. Massive cuts for the working class and the poor. And a huge expansion of the defense budget and the surveillance state. That's the big picture of what's in here. And lo and behold, it is profoundly unpopular. Harry Enton did a big piece breaking down the bill's approval rating across all the different polls. It's underwater anywhere from 20 to 30 points. And with independents, it's underwater by more than 40 points. Again, not a surprise. Just ask Steve Bannon. He's been warning about how incredibly unpopular this thing is going to be. I think Republicans have decided. Number 1. That they're probably going to lose the House in the midterms. So it's sort of a lost cause at this point. And number 2. For Trump, this giant tax cut is a massive priority. A key promise he made to his billionaire donors to extend the cuts from his first administration. He's not backing off of it. And I think Republicans will ultimately find a way to get it through. But as of this morning, it is in doubt. And it's creating all kinds of tensions within the coalition. The last thing I'll mention is that polling indicates a lot of Americans don't actually know what is in this bill. Which is a profound failure on the part of the Democratic Party. You have some Democrats too busy with other issues to effectively communicate the stakes. There's also been a lot of focus on the fact that Trump started a war with Iran, which has sucked up a lot of the oxygen in the room. As a result, very few people even realize the dire cuts to Medicaid or that millions of Americans will be cut off from health insurance because of this bill. Rural hospitals are going to close. So many people are going to lose access to food stamps. It's very possible that even as bad as the polling is on it right now, it will get even worse after it passes. As people realize just how damaging this thing is. So, here we are, watching what could be the largest upward transfer of wealth in history. As Republicans are now at war with each other over it. And Elon and Trump are fully back at it. But in the midst of this chaotic and frankly depressing political theater, there is a powerful reason for hope. The very fact that this bill is so unpopular. That these internal feuds are exploding into public view. And that the truth of who these policies serve is being laid bare, that is a victory for transparency. This is where the real power lies, not in the backroom deals in Washington. But in an informed public that understands what's at stake. The reason they fight so hard to distract and confuse is because they are afraid of you knowing the truth. This is why we are committed to cutting through the noise and bringing you the facts. Unfiltered and unvarnished. We believe that a well-informed citizenry is the ultimate check on power. The more people who understand the real-world consequences of these decisions, the harder it becomes for them to pass such destructive legislation. Change doesn't happen overnight. But it begins with awareness. It begins with you. If you believe in this mission and want to be a part of the solution, please take a moment to support our work. Hit the like button. Leave a comment below to help the algorithm show this to more people. And most importantly, subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you're not just watching the news. You're helping to build a more informed, engaged, and powerful electorate. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time.